You don't lose control because you're weak, you lose control because no one ever taught you when to stay silent. If you've ever said one sentence and regretted it all day, reacted emotionally and destroyed your own position, felt like others had more power than you even though they spoke far less than you, then this video is not here to motivate you. It's here to wake you up. The ancient Stoics didn't teach us how to defeat others. They taught something far more dangerous, how not to defeat ourselves. In this video, I'll break down 20 ancient quotes about power, silence, and self-control, clearly divided in focused sections. Not so you can read them and feel smart, but so you understand why the person who knows when to stay silent always stands above the one who talks too much. And most importantly, after each section you'll get practical exercises you can apply immediately. No vagueness, no empty philosophy. Stay with me until the end of this video. You won't speak more, but people will start listening to you more. Real power is never loud. Let's start with a hard truth. Not everyone who has power can control it. And almost no one is taught how to hold power without destroying themselves in the process. The Stoics understood this early. They didn't believe in impulsive power. They believed in disciplined power. Power that is uncontrolled becomes destruction, first to others, then to oneself. Listen carefully. Uncontrolled power doesn't just hurt others first. It always comes back and ruins the one who holds it. You see this every day. A manager who yells so loses trust, someone who's too honest so loses status, someone who reacts instantly so loses leverage. To the Stoics, power is not doing whatever you want, it's knowing when not to do anything at all. A person who can control their power is borrowing fear from others and paying it back later with loneliness. If you've ever won an argument but lost respect, you already understand this quote. A ruler who cannot control himself will never truly control others. The Stoics didn't believe in leadership through commands. They believed in leadership through mental frequency. If you get angry easily, react emotionally, let other people's words pull you around, then no matter how high your title is, you're not a leader. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal to remind himself, every day I can be an emperor or a slave to my emotions. Self-control doesn't make you weaker. It makes people feel safe around you. And that's the root of real influence. Power grows dangerous the moment it forgets humility. This is where every empire begins to fall. Not when it runs out of money. Not when it lacks soldiers. But when the one at the top believes they no longer need to listen. Humility in Stoicism isn't self-deprecation. It's awareness that you can still be wrong. A powerful person without humility will talk more, listen less, react instead of reflect. You can spot them instantly. They always need to prove they're right. Truly strong people don't need to so that. Ancient wisdom teaches that discipline protects power from decay. Power doesn't disappear overnight. It rots from the inside. The Stoics treated discipline like a filter, filtering speak, filtering reactions, filtering the ego. Without discipline, power becomes habit. And habits always decay. Discipline means not saying everything you think, not reacting when your ego is touched, not using power to satisfy emotions. Sounds simple. Very few people can do it. The greatest authority comes from inner order, not outward control. This is the core of Stoic philosophy. You don't need to control the world. You need order in your own mind. A person with inner order doesn't rush to explain, isn't afraid of being misunderstood, doesn't need to prove anything, and because of that, that is the quietest form of power. And the most durable. Practical exercise, Sundays 1. Delay power for the next 10 days. Whenever you have the right to react immediately, delay for 1 second. No talking. No explaining. No defending. Just observe your emotion. Ask yourself, are you protecting the truth or protecting your ego? 2. Silent authority ex. Choose one situation where you could use power, words, position, logic, and intentionals on. Use it. Watch what happens. Chances are, others will self-correct or you will realize you never needed that power as much as you thought. The inner order check before sleep. Ask, where did I lose control today? In that moment, did I want to be right or powerful? If I had stayed silent for 3 more seconds, would the outcome change? Write it down. No excuses. Silence doesn't weaken you, it sharpens your sight. Most people are afraid of silence. Not because they have nothing to say, but because in silence, truth starts to echo. The Stoics didn't stay silent because they lacked opinions. They stay silent because they refused to give emotions a microphone. Silence is often the sharpest weapon. It reveals wisdom while hiding strength. Listen closely. Silence reveals wisdom while concealing strength. When you stay silent, others start talking more, and when they talk more, they reveal more. Negotiation, arguments, relationships. The one who speaks first often loses poison first and first. Silence doesn't erase you. It exposes others. The Stoics understood what modern society forgets. Not everyone who talks a lot is strong, but the strong always control their mouth. The wise speak only when their words are stronger than their silence. That's an extremely high standard. Very few reach it. Before speaking, the Stoic ask, will these words clarify the situation, or just help me release emotion? If your words don't improve the situation, stay silent. If your words exist to prove you're right, avoid feeling defeated, avoid being disrespected, stay silent. This isn't endurance. It's self-respect. Silence teaches what loud words never can. Words take true opinion. Silence teaches true experience. When you don't react, others are forced to face themselves. You're forced to observe yourself. Many people only realize they're impassive, insecure, or reactive when they're forced to be silent. Silence is a mirror, and not everyone dares to look into it. In silence, intentions are revealed and enemies are exposed. Ancient emperors, generals, and politicians all understood this. When you speak less, others guess what you're thinking, and in guessing they reveal themselves. The one who talks too much is rushing to explain, rushing to prove, rushing to hide. The silent one is. Silence creates psychological space, and humans hate empty space. They'll fill it with their own truth. Silence is not weakness, it is patience waiting for the right moment. This is where most people misunderstand Stoic silence. It's not suppressing yourself forever. It's choosing the right moment. The weak stay silent out of fear. The strong stay silent because they don't need to act yet. Silence tells the world, I'm not rushed, and I'm not dragged by your emotions. In a world of impulsive reactions, that's a massive advantage. Exercise 1. One less sentence for the next 7 days. Say one sentence less than usual in every conversation. Observe how others react, how uncomfortable it feels not to finish your thought. That discomfort is your ego demanding attention. 2. Silence under fire. When someone criticizes you, provokes you, say something that triggers you, stay silent for 5 seconds. No nodding. No arguing. No explaining. Just breathe. You notice neither conflicts collapse on their own. 3. Reveal test. Recall a time you spoke too much, over-explained, defended yourself for too long. Ask, if I had stayed silent for 3 more seconds, who would have been forced to speak next? That answer teaches more than any book. If you don't control yourself, you'll be controlled for life. Most people think they lose because of circumstance. The Stoics knew a harsher truth: they lose because they can't control themselves. Not because they're unintelligent, not because they lack opportunity, but because they rack faster than they think. He who conquers himself is greater than one who conquers 1,000 men in battle. Modern people admire external victories, status, fame, winning arguments. The Stoics admired something else, the person who just let anger choose their actions. Conquering others gives dopamine. Conquering yourself gives freedom. And freedom to the Stoics means no one and nothing controls your inner state. Master your emotions, or they will one day rule over you. This isn't meditation talk. It's a warning. If you don't master your emotions, one sentence ruins your sleep, one look triggers rage, one criticism shakes your identity, you think you're living. You're being dragged. The Stoics didn't destroy emotions. They put them in their place. Emotion is a signal, not a command. Self-control is the root of all lasting authority. Fragile power comes speaking louder, forcing harder, reacting faster. Real power comes from someone who isn't triggered, isn't manipulated, isn't pulled in emotional games. They don't need to win every moment. They win the entire bar. You can control others long-term if you can control yourself for 1 second of anger. The ancients understood restraint is a sign of true strength. Modern society tells you, express yourself. Speak up. Reek. The ancients taught the opposite. Not every thought deserves a voice. Not every emotion deserves action. Restraint is suppression. It's selection. You choose when to speak, when to stop, when to step back, and in that selection you preserve energy, credibility, and self-respect. Victory over others is temporary. Victory over the self is eternal. You can defeat someone today. Tomorrow another appears. But if you defeat reactive habits, unconscious anger, the need for validation, you win every day. Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful emperor on earth. Yet what he feared most wasn't enemies. He feared becoming a slave to his own emotions. And that was the right fear. Final exercise S. Pause before reaction for 10 days, before replying, before texting, before reacting emotional. Pause for 3 breaths. Just 3. You'll be shocked how many necessary reactions weren't necessary at all. 2. Emotion labeling. When emotion arises, don't act. Name it silently. This is anger. This is shame. This is ego being touched. And return to breathing. Control is restore. 3. Daily Stoic review. Every night ask, where did I lose self-control today? 2. Which emotion controlled me? If replayed, where would silence or slowness change the outcome? No judgment, only observation. That's how the Stoics trained the mind. In the final part, we'll enter inner strength, where the Stoic no longer needs to perform control anyone, because when the inside is ordered, the outside itself. Don't miss it. This is where true strength is recognized in silence. True strength not need to be proven. Here is a paradox the Stoics understood clearly. The more someone needs to prove they are strong, the weaker they are strong, the weaker they usually are in the room. Real strength is not loud. It creates order. Calm is the highest expression of power. True power is not shown in force, but in the ability to remain calm when provoked. If you truly understand this sentence, you'll never argue the same way again. When provoked, you always have 3 options: on, regain, lose control. 2. Suppress, accumulate pressure. 3. Stay calm, keep leverage. The Stoics chose the third. They weren't calm because they weren't hurt. They were calm because they refused to let pain control behavior. The moment you don't react, you rise above the situation. Patience builds empires, anger destroys them. Ancient kings knew patience builds empires, while anger destroys them. History isn't short on talented people. It's full of people who destroyed themselves through anger. Anger gives you a quick sense of power, but it always takes away perspective, precision, respect. Patience does the opposite. It doesn't feel like winning right away, but it gives you long-term position. The Stoics didn't ask, did I win? They asked, did I keep inner order? Fewer words, more weight. Those who speak less often command more respect, not because they're mysterious, but because when they speak it matters. When you talk too much, words lose value, ideas get diluted, people stop listening. The Stoics treated words like money, spent only when necessary. Spend in the right place. Respect doesn't come from sounding smart. It comes from speaking so little that when you so speak, people listen. A calm mind sees farther, a quiet mind sees farther than a restless one. A restless mind jumps from thought to thought, reeks instead of observing, judges instead of understanding. A calm mind recognizes patterns, anticipates consequences, isn't pulled by short-term emotion. The Stoics trained a calm mind not to escape life, but to read life more accurately. In a chaotic world, the calm person has the advantage. The strongest mind does need proof. The strongest mind is one that does not need to prove its strength. This is the conclusion of Stoic philosophy. If you need to win every argument, be constantly validated, prove you're right, your mind is not free. A strong mind isn't afraid of being misunderstood, doesn't rush to fix its image, doesn't live off its reasons. They know who they are. And that is enough. This isn't training to better. It's training to stand firmer in life. Practical exercise 1. Calm under trigger. This week, when you're criticized, misunderstood, provoked, do not react immediately. Ask yourself, if I stay calm for 60 more seconds, what might I see that I can't see right now? Just ask. No need to answer yet. 2. Less words, more weight. Choose one. A. No over-explaining, no speaking to please, no interrupting. Observe, no people ask you more questions. So your words get more attention. That's the weight of silence. 3. No proof. Day 1. A. This week, don't prove, don't argue right or wrong, don't fix your image, just live correctly. You feel the relief that comes from not needing to look strong. The Stoics didn't try to control the world. They controlled the reactions to it. And from that, power became durable, silence became sharp, self-control became freedom, and strength became invisible. If this video made you speak less but think deeper, then it did its job. If you've watched it until this point, there's a high chance you weren't looking for entertainment. You were looking for stability. Stoic philosophy doesn't promise an easier life. It promises one thing: you will no longer be the first person to make things worse. You don't need to change everything today. Just remember this when you leave this video: when you control your reactions, you don't just keep your calm, you keep your position. If the quotes in this video made you stay silent a little longer, think a little deeper, and read a little slower, then Stoicism has already begun working. If you want to keep training a calm mind in a noisy world, stay with this channel. Not to hear more, but to speak less and stand firmer. The next video will dive into an uncomfortable question: why are the people who never explain themselves often the ones who can be shaken? If you're ready for that answer, you already know what to do.